I just want to ask you guys, what do y'all think about all these AI action figures people are making? Who started that?
Have you seen the like starter pack one where it like looks like they're in a little box?
Yeah,
that you would buy like.
Yeah, and it
Is
has
that what
like
you're talking
their main
about?
accessories.
Is that what you were talking about?
Yeah.
Or just that was kind of cool. I saw somebody post that on their story and I was like, how did they get that?
Well, I'm an old man on Facebook, and I see everybody's been posting them.
Oh yeah, they're everywhere. Like, I hadn't seen one until Christian from the Harvest Youth. He posted one for April Fool's of me and him.
Yeah,
and I was like, what is
yours
this?
may have been the first one I saw.
That was the first one I saw for sure. And now, like, everybody's been doing them. Like, Dr. Putman has one.
I made one for Dr. Thompson.
Oh, that's perfect. Honestly, that
great?
looks just like him.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And they added a thumbs up.
That's great.
It's so good. Yeah, it just seems like those are everywhere right now and just kind of taking over. How did Christian make them?
I have no idea. I didn't ask. I didn't know he was posting it or anything until I was, like, I have access to the Instagram, and so some of the students had, like, added me or whatever, and I was like, I don't even know what this is. And it was an April Fool's thing, and someone was like, get Christian off of Instagram right now.
Yeah.
So they were just like, someone take his phone away.
How much social media stuff do you do with Christian?
Quite a bit. I mean, pretty much every post is posted by me.
When do y'all make those? Like, you do a lot of TikTok stuff?
Yes.
When do y'all make those videos?
We usually make those videos on Wednesday, so I go early and I spend most of the day. So we will make those videos, or we might make other videos for, if we want to post something throughout the week or do their, like, ranking things sometimes. So we might rank breakfast foods or something, and just to have something to post throughout the week and stuff like that.
How long have you been interning there?
For a year and a half. So
okay.
I started in January of 24.
Do you help with children and youth, or is it just youth primarily?
Well, so my first year I helped with children and youth, but in January I started just doing youth ministry.
Gotcha. When did you start going there?
I started going shortly after Anna and Jared Vidito's wedding. It was there, and Packy had invited me and asked me about kind of youth internship stuff, and so I started going in like August, and then I started exploring the idea about being the intern in like October, and then became the intern in January.
And that was in 22?
23. 23.
Oh, 23. Okay. Wow. So you weren't there when Dr. Norman was there?
I wasn't, no.
Okay. Yeah. We started going after he left, not because he left, but he was the interim pastor.
Yeah.
Took the church from one side of town, helped him get to the other side. They'd already voted to do that before he started, but yeah, we really like it there.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I think it's awesome. I'm going to be sad to leave. My last day is April 30th, so it's going to be pretty sad.
Your last day on staff, or like your last day and then you're moving somewhere else?
Yeah, my last day on staff is April 30th, and then we graduate May 3rd, and then I'm moving home for the summer before I go to New Orleans.
And what are you doing in New Orleans?
I'm going to the seminary there to get my master's degree.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, hey, today on the podcast we have Sidne Mills. Welcome, Sidney. She's a Williams senior, Anna Williams singer, and a Williams RA director. No, what's your title?
Assistant resident director.
Assistant. How long have you been working with resident life stuff?
3 years. I started my sophomore year.
Okay. And you're about to graduate?
Yep.
And where's home at?
Crossett, Southeast Arkansas.
How southeast are we talking?
It's 4 hours from here. So my house is like 8 minutes from Beekman, Louisiana.
You're north of the border.
Yeah, I mean the last town before Louisiana.
Okay.
So.
Okay. And you did you grow up there?
Yes, I did.
Wow. I didn't know it was that far away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, just a little bit more about Sidney before we get into this episode, which I feel like we're so deep into it already. You're in singers, and you're what are you majoring in?
Christian ministries.
Which emphasis are you doing?
Great Commission studies.
Okay, so what's that mean?
Basically, it means that you have a lot of emphasis on like missiology type things in your classes, so you learn more about evangelism and missions and how to share the gospel with people and just kind of practical ways to do that. And for this one, it requires that I have 2 internships instead of just one. So right now I'm in my Great Commission internship. And so it's just to basically emphasize more on, sharing the gospel and stuff, rather than like the biblical theology one is you take more of like the religion classes and Bible classes and learn about those things. So mine is kind of just more of a practical one. I mean, there's still a lot of challenges to it, but definitely just a little bit more practical.
Yeah. There's a question in Kinsman's eyes right now. I can just see it.
It's brewing, but
okay. Well, then I got one. So it's Easter weekend. It's Good Friday, so we don't not have class on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And what is Good Friday? Anybody?
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 Good Friday is when Jesus died on the cross. Not this date, obviously, but Easter Sunday, which is 3 days later, is when we celebrate him resurrecting from the dead, saving us from our sins.
So there used to be a professor here. He taught us what Good Friday was by by going through everything in the Bible about what made that Friday so bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of the sermon, he said, so what makes Good Friday good? And he just like looks around at us, and then he pulls up this blank sheet of paper and just rips it in half, to symbolize that the veil is torn,
mm-hmm. that
access to God is now through Jesus, and we have that access to God now. And I just anytime I think about like what is Good Friday, I hear that question, I always think of Dr. Gore, and I think of that sermon and that moment. So, but anyways, yeah. So we're celebrating Good Friday, and then obviously Easter. Kinsman, you're going home.
Yeah, I'm gonna go home.
I imagine a lot of people are going home.
I would imagine. Oh, you're not going home?
No,
she's working.
Can't.
Oh,
I gotta work. I work at a church, so I'm gonna.
That
stay
makes
around
sense.
Here. Yeah.
We have like 47 services on Saturday and Sunday. Is that right?
Yes. We have 1 on Saturday night and then 3 on Sunday, and then 1 tonight too.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably all
You
gonna
think
be
I would have
packed,
known
too.
about that? What's tonight?
Cross remembrance service. So I don't think we're doing a Good Friday service. So I'm pretty sure that this is like Good Friday's replacement service.
Okay.
It amazes me how many people go to church on Easter. Like, I'm from a smaller town, and then, like, Easter Sunday, I'll go to church, and I'll just be, like, full of people I've never seen. I'm just like, I'm glad you're here, but where did you even come from?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy, honestly.
Yeah. You're like touching their face. Are you real? No, we wouldn't do that. That would definitely make sure they don't come back the next week. But yeah. So come Monday, you're gonna crash, Sidney, because
for sure
you're gonna be exhausted. We always go spend our Easter with Taylor's family. Her dad usually preaches at a different church every week. He's an associational missionary, so it's like our a couple times a year we try to go hang out with them on a Sunday, and this is one of them.
Good.
So we will not be there, but
that's okay.
Yeah, we'll miss y'all. Wish we could be there. Hey, maybe we'll go tonight. Going to church is tough when you have a 9-year-old at home who has a bedtime and it's 30 minutes away. But how do you manage all that? Because it seems like you're there a lot, but that's a 30-minute drive there, 30 minutes back.
Yeah, honestly, I don't really know how I manage it sometimes. Like, I am pretty tired most of the time. But usually, like, Wednesdays, if that's the day that I'm going to go spend the whole day, because I don't have class on Wednesdays. So it's pretty easy for me to go on that day, unless, like, we have an RA meeting sometimes, but I'll just leave after that. But yeah, I just go and we spend the day getting ready for, worship stuff that night, and kind of talk through what my role is going to be that night, whether I like lead a game or, I usually do like welcome, and I usually close it out and stuff like that. And so we go through that. We make our TikToks. We kind of try to do stuff that matches, what we're going to be doing that night, whether it's a game or what Christian is talking about or, whatever. So that's Wednesday's my busiest day at the church, because that's when I'm doing like a lot of student ministry stuff. And then Sundays, Now that we have 3 services, I actually don't have to get there at 8 in the morning, which I'm really thankful for, because that's pretty early for a 30-minute drive. But I'm supposed to get there at 9, and so on that day, I just kind of spend time with the youth and just hang out with them. Might play basketball before we have like connect groups and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm able to go to the services that I think I go to the third service. Yeah, the third service. I'm kind of confused with the new schedule now. And then after that, usually we'll have a Bible study with some girls. So sometimes after church, we'll do a Bible study. We've been going through Ephesians since last semester, so we've been kind of slacking this semester on getting back into it. But yeah, I'll do that. Might have lunch with some people after, just trying to spend time with the students, especially now, like since I'm about to leave, just trying to hang out with them as much as I can.
Yeah. Are you going to miss them?
Yes, it's going to be awful. I'm not excited to leave at all. So Christian's making me give a speech on my last days.
Oh, really?
Tell them why I'm leaving, all the things. Because a lot of kids honestly don't even know that I'm leaving. And so I'm going to have to do that and then give them final parting words and stuff like that.
What are you going to say?
So, I have no idea. I haven't really thought about it very much just because it just makes me sad. So I don't think about it all that much.
Well, that's what this podcast is for, is to make people feel sad.
Yeah.
And feel emotions. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I have an idea of what you could say.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. No, it needs to be from your heart.
Yeah, just let me know. I need some advice.
Yeah, I'll write down for you. I'll chat GPT it.
Oh, yeah.
That'll get her done right there.
It would come up with something pretty meaningful, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, very artificial, too.
Mm-hmm.
You probably wouldn't be going to New Orleans either. It would say you're going who knows where.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But if it did, you'd probably have to listen to it.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to rule our lives eventually, so might as well do it now.
Have you heard that the in a year from now, there's going to be at least one AI language that's going to be smarter than the smartest human on Earth?
No, I've never heard of that before.
And that in 5 years, one of them is going to be smarter than all the humans on Earth combined.
Oh.
That's when Terminator begins.
That's kind of terrifying.
It is pretty terrifying.
Have you talked to the chat GPT, the audio version?
I haven't. I've used ChatGPT.
It's weird because it'll do tone of voice, or if it's asking a question, it it sounds like a person.
Really?
And certain models can even joke and stuff. It's really weird. It's kind of unsettling.
Yeah. Are they fast? Is quick wit?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. I like that.
The loading time, it doesn't load, it just talks to you.
And this is on ChatGPT, not a
Yes.
different one?
It is on ChatGPT, but
Because you use that Chinese software.
I do sometimes.
Why?
DeepSeek. It's free and has some better features.
Oh, gotcha.
It's just a different person, that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you just need a different
Sometimes
person
you gotta,
to speak into
yeah.
your life.
You don't want to get all your information from one person.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I ask you about you're majoring in Christian ministries. And what are you going to do in seminary?
I'm going to get my Master's of Divinity in Christian Education.
Okay. So you obviously, I assume, would say that you feel called by God to do ministry.
Yeah.
How's that calling changed since your freshman year?
Well, yeah, it's changed a lot, honestly.
Or developed, however you want to.
Yeah, developed is probably a good word. So actually, I felt my call to ministry whenever I was almost a junior in high school. So I got to go on a mission trip to Zambia, Africa, and so I got to just go hang out with people. I was only 16, so honestly, I don't remember just a whole lot about it other than that. I was just so impacted by the people there. They followed Jesus in the same way that I followed Jesus, and it never was really a concept to me that people that have completely different lifestyles from me can follow Jesus too. And maybe it's just because I grew up in a really small town, and so a lot of people are just the same, and so that's kind of how I operated, I guess. And so I went to Zambia, and I was immediately just welcomed by the people there, and I could just almost feel the love of Jesus just coming off of them. And so I was just that is awesome. That's such a cool thing. And so I got to, go in the streets and share the gospel with people with my dad. And it was just a really cool experience. And I was like, I really want to do this. Like, this is something that I would like to do, just to tell people about Jesus for the rest of my life. And to, you know, if it's a job, that would be awesome. You know, like if I can tell someone about Jesus and that be something that I can do, you know, just to work and do that, that would be what I would love to do. And so that was where I really started feeling my call to ministry. And that was encouraged by my parents. And really there was 2 options in Arkansas for a ministry major, and Williams is the one I went with. And
good choice.
yes, I think it was the best choice, honestly. God just opened so many doors for me to come to Williams and closed a lot of other doors for me to go to the other school. And so it was just a really cool thing how God just really brought me here and almost dropped me here, because I was like, I don't want to go to school 4 hours away. And this first time I was away from my parents and my family. And so it was hard because, you know, I was in a completely different world almost, and I wasn't around people I knew. But I'm so glad that I was put here. And so I started, you know, I was taking ICM, Intro to Christian Ministries, is the first class you take as a ministry major. And so
with Dr. Foster?
Yes, with Dr. Foster. And it was just so fun. And you kind of learn how to be a ministry major in that, because you have to learn, you know, how to write papers. And
which is surprisingly the majority of that class.
Yeah.
Which is not an easy task.
Yeah. It really isn't. And I mean, I loved that class, and if I could take a class again, Intro to Christian Ministries is what I would take. But yeah, you just learn all of those things. But anyways, my call to ministry has really developed in the last year since I started actually at Harvest, you know, working at a church. And so I'd originally kind of thought that I wanted to do marriage and family counseling, maybe, because, you know, I had the option of you know, if I don't get to work in a church, then I can be a licensed counselor and I can go work somewhere, and I'm a little bit more guaranteed, you know, actually making a living and stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, you know, I'll do that. And I looked at NOBTS, and they have the master's with the license. And so I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to do. And then actually a couple months ago, I was just in my car. I was driving the 30-minute drive back from Harvest, and I was just like, Lord, I just feel like this is not what you actually want me to do. I don't know why. I just was feeling so unsettled about, you know, going and getting my master's in counseling. And I was like, God, you know, if you want me to do something else, then can you please just show me what you want me to do, you know, whatever. And God just really reminded me, he has gifted me in teaching and in creating relationships and discipleship. And I'm so fulfilled by that. I love discipleship. I love hanging out with, you know, the girls at Harvest and just getting to do Bible study with them or talk to them or go eat lunch or whatever. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm going to look at what NOBTS has that has to do with discipleship, you know, something like that of, you know, I don't really know what kind of job I'm going to have if I do this. I don't know what it's going to look like, but I was just I was talking to my mom one day, and she was like, God has literally, you know, made a way for you now, and what would make him stop that now? You know, what would make him stop providing for you because you're being obedient to him, you know? And so I started looking at that, and I called them, and I was like, hey, you know, I'm kind of thinking about changing my master's course or my master's track. And I was like, I really want to do discipleship, but I want to do the MDiv. So I want to stay in that. And he was like, well, you should do Christian education. And I was like, okay, well, great. And so now I've actually changed it to that. And
nice. How many hours is that degree?
It is 87 hours, but I'll go in with 15. I'll go in ahead because I'm a ministry major here. So yeah, that helps. I'm not going to really have to take, beginner Greek or anything like that. So I'm really excited about that. You know, I can still take some Greek, but I won't have to start over or anything. So that'll help.
What's the potential career path for that degree?
Well, I'm not exactly sure. You know, the ideal thing, what I would love to do is what I'm doing now, you know, of being able to work at a church and with students and get to hang out with them and just, you know, teach and do stuff like that. I've told them at Harvest, if y'all want to get an associate youth ministry role, just let me know, you know, because I would love to do that. So that's kind of what I would love to do. But also, I've been kind of flipping around in my head, going to get my doctorate and doing teaching. So I would love to do like what Dr. Foster does and teach, and especially just for like women in ministry, because it is sometimes really easy to feel like you don't have a place in ministry as a woman. And so I just kind of feel like, you know, if I can be an example, like you can do this, you can go get your master's, and you can do this, and you can do ministry to people, that would really be impactful and to people, because it can really feel like, you know, as a woman, that you're not necessarily wanted in an employment way of church, you know. So.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like at Harvest, the role that Miss Hawley is in is so crucial.
Yes.
And is just like a perfect example of never undermining like a woman's role on staff. And so I feel like it's a really good, healthy environment in some kind of role in youth or in education or discipleship.
Yeah.
Like we're primed and ready for someone like you to hop in there and do that. And I know there's a lot of churches that way too. When I was originally majoring or getting my master's in Christian education from Midwestern, a lady named Morley Maynard was in charge of it and had been for a long time. And did you ever have Dr. Norville here, or had he retired before you started?
He retired. I've met Dr. Norville, but he retired before I got here.
Great dude. He's the one who told me about the education program at Midwestern and about Morley Maynard. And I had her for a lot of classes, and she was my advisor. Amazing woman, and it's hard for me to imagine a master's in education program that some dude's in charge of and not her.
You're right.
So, I do think that you know, if there is still a stereotype in some circles that women can't do that kind of role, it's definitely that stereotype's dying pretty fast. Or at least I hope it is.
Yeah, I'm glad it is. You know?
Yeah, because like I think about what you could do with that education degree. Obviously, there's all kinds of discipleship roles in a church that are so necessary. Because you know this, okay? I think you both know this. Discipleship has nothing to do with just organizing a bunch of curriculum and handing it to somebody else to go and teach. Discipleship is about like spending time with people.
Yeah.
And so you can be the middleman who just orders the curriculum for people, or you can be the person who spends the time with the teachers, showing them what they ought to be doing. I mean, that's what Jesus did with his disciples. He didn't say, come and follow me and show up, 8 to 5 and I'll be in my office with the door closed.
Yeah.
He just lived life with them.
Right.
So, and the most influential discipleship relationships I've had from with my mentors or people that I have mentored has been because we met at Starbucks for an hour and a half every single week and read large chunks of the Bible together.
Right.
And yeah, and and them looking back at me, they were like, man, Bill's taking such slow steps towards the right direction. But over time, I think of guys like Paul Clark had a huge impact on my life because he was willing to do that and to watch the very slow growth in my life. But so anyways, I don't know where I was going with all that other than I would never it's easy for me to say this as a guy, but if I were you, I would never diminish the impact or the role that you can have for full-time gainful employment at a church or at a school, and even whether that be at the high school level at a private Christian college where you get to be the Bible teacher or working at Williams or at New Orleans. I mean, look at Micah Putman.
Yeah, she's killing it. Honestly, she's homeschooling and she's getting her doctorate and she is a pastor's wife.
And an adjunct professor here?
Teaching.
Yeah.
I'm like, she's awesome. She's just killing it, honestly. And she's just such a great teacher, too.
Yeah.
She's the best.
Yep. So, can we switch gears for a second?
Yeah.
Who's been the most influential person in your life at Williams? And we can even go professor or somebody who's in a director or coach. We just take that however you want to. Who's been the most influential person?
Can I give two?
Nope.
I can't give two?
Okay, you can give two.
Okay.
But whoever you start with is more important.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. Kidding. They can be equal.
Right, yeah. Dr. Foster has definitely been one of the most influential. He has just made a huge impact on my life as far as teaching me, and I've learned a lot from him. But also, I was his work study my freshman year, and so
yeah.
I got to know Dr. Foster a lot in that year and got to hang out with him and hear all kinds of stories and stuff. And also, like, you know, Dr. Foster is just one of those people that if you're struggling, you can expect him to pray for you. So, like, my junior year, I went through a breakup, and Dr. Foster, I went to his office, and I was like, I was just so sad and just was crying. It was pitiful. And he just prayed for me, and it was just like, that was so impactful to me because, like, you know, I was a 21-year-old girl going to his office crying, and he just prayed for me, and it was great. And so he's just made a really, he's been very impactful to me. Mm-hmm. And then the second person is Gabby Dixon. She, Gabby started discipling me at the beginning of my junior year. And I really needed it. You know, I was asking the Lord, like, can you please, you know, bring someone in my life to disciple me and to just teach me, and, you know, someone preferably that's, you know, a little older and stuff that I can learn from. And God just placed Gabby in my life, and she is just awesome. She has, you know, prayed for me, and we've gone and gotten lunch, and, you know, it was just, you know, this friendship that I've gained, and she's just awesome. And so she's been really impactful to me too, of just in a discipleship relationship, but also just in a friendship too, you know. Yeah. Just hang out with her and go get coffee, or, you know, or going to get dinner one day, or, you know, whatever. She's just been awesome, and she's just a sweet and fun presence in my life, and I'm gonna miss her a lot when I have to leave. So
yeah. I've never heard anyone say a negative word about Gabby.
No.
She literally is like the nicest person. Yes. Just a hard worker, a stable presence. Like, yeah, Gabby's awesome.
She is.
That's she's a good one to have. So, hey, good. Those are two good answers.
Thanks.
What's a hard thing you've had to learn? What's something you've had to learn the hard way? That's the way to say it. In college.
I've had to learn a lot about not being able to have control over things. So I love control. I love to, you know, kind of gear what happens and stuff like that. I have a touch of OCD. And so I love for things to just, you know, have their place, and not necessarily like physical things, but like just life things to just be exactly how I want them to be. And I've learned the hard way that that is not how life works. You know, I can't have control of everything. And especially like in an RA context, I've learned that, you know, whether that's with events or, you know, and talking to students or, you know, whatever, like people aren't going to necessarily act the way that I think they should in certain things. So that's been something that I've really had to learn, is like the only actions that I control are my own. You know, I can't dictate what other people do, and that's been challenging for me because I just like for things to go my way all the time, and I just can't have that, you know.
Yeah. What's the RA leadership stuff like? Is that challenging to step into, or is it just rewarding and laid back?
In some ways it's all three of those things. So like there's, you know, challenges, and whenever you have to you know, like with room checks, if you fail somebody, you know, they're not going to like you probably, or
how long does that last? Like a week, or are you done with them forever?
It's usually like, you know, a couple days. They text you and they're like, why did you do this? You know, or whatever. And I mean, there's some people who will hold a grudge forever. And
have you ever been given like a death threat?
I have not been given a death threat.
Somebody slides a little note underneath your door like,
yeah,
don't fail this person again.
Right, yeah. Thankfully,
or
no.
you will pay.
So I've been called some mean things, but that's just kind of part of it, you know, of you're not always going to be the person that they're going to like in situations, because, you know, you might have to go do a room search or whatever. And so, like, usually in those cases, you know, like when you do stuff like that, you try not to go whenever they're in their room, but they might walk in and you're the face that's there looking through their stuff. And it's kind of That's a
That
hard
would be
part of
kinda
it.
weird.
It's very weird.
I really want to ask you some of the stuff you found, but also know this is a podcast for the school.
Yes.
So I don't think I can
I don't-
ask that.
No, probably not. But some interesting things.
I bet. Yeah, I
So,
bet.
it's such an. That's honestly, I actually love that part of the job though, because like, it's kind of fun, to be
You
like,
just have like a collection in your room of
no,
everything you found.
no, that stuff gets taken in like a little Ziploc bag, and stuff, But this probably, I don't know if this part will make it on the podcast, but anyways, there are challenging parts because sometimes just as an RA, people are gonna hate you from the beginning. They're just gonna be like, no, I don't like her. And that's just kind of part of the thing. And
Do they see you as the police?
yes, I think so.
Yeah,
Which
that makes
honestly,
sense.
it's not though. Like, we do room checks, and if we have to,
Well, even the police say they're not police.
right.
I'm just kidding. I don't know if they say that or not,
I
but-
guess I don't know, but that's definitely the challenging part of like, if you were a people pleaser and you like people to like you, then honestly, like the RA job is just not for you.
You just described me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I never
Bill,
had
you
an
probably wouldn't have wanted to be an RA.
Yeah, I would have hated to be an RA.
Yeah. I love it though, like, and it's a lot of fun. It's been it's pretty chill in some ways, like like you're on duty and stuff like that, and most of the time you don't have to do too much. Mike might text and be like, can you go do whatever, but most of the stuff that we have to get taken care of is people locking themselves out of their room. I mean, a few times a week that kind of stuff happens, but if that's the worst that people are doing, then
So
I'll
have you
take
gotten
that.
called for like some crazy conflict, or like what's like the most random situation you've had to go take care of that you can disclose on the
that
podcast?
I can disclose. Every now and then, people's showers or toilets like just explode and overflow, and so unfortunately that's RA's job to take care of. So
Really?
like, I don't know much about toilets, so I mean I know how to turn the knob and put in a maintenance request, but like last year we had it was on a Sunday evening. I was woken up from my nap to do this, but we have storage rooms and stuff, and so one of our storage rooms flooded, and so we had to take all of the things out of there. So it's like mattresses and dressers, bed frames.
Yeah.
All of the things were in there, and we had to take all of them out because this girl's toilet flooded. And so we get all that stuff out, and so then we have to clean it up because obviously we can't let the water just sit in there. And so there was like 2 inches of standing water in this room, and I mean it was disgusting. We were like, and there's a couple like dead frogs floating around in there.
Oh
and
my
stuff.
gosh.
And so it was just nasty.
Yeah.
And I would say that I can disclose that's definitely the most, like, those kinds are the most interesting things. And like we had one this a couple months ago, and I'm under this girl's bed, and she had so much stuff. Oh my gosh, she had so much stuff, and it's just covered in water, and it was nasty, and I was like, it stinks in here. But then you get to like, you do it with other RAs, and it's actually kind of fun, because it's like,
Yeah.
you get to hang out with them.
You're in it
and-
together.
Yes, and
Yeah.
so we call it like trauma bonds because we've just
Yeah.
we've done some nasty stuff together, and it's just part of the job,
Yep.
being RA.
Y'all should be on the TV show Dirty Jobs.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Kinsman, what's the grossest water-related job you've ever had to do?
We had to fix our washing machine. Something random broke, so we were like had to take it all apart as opposed to buy a new one.
Mhm.
And when where the clothes go, that looks clean because it is. But let me tell you, the inside of it is not, because there's water going through it every day, and then
Oh, yeah.
sitting, and which isn't even that nasty, but it was just
Yeah.
just
Yeah, that's gross.
Yeah.
Yeah. Drains, like around bathtubs and sinks, kind of gross me out. But one time, the river flooded over near Pangburn, or Painway, I don't know, over close to on your way to Memphis from this area. And our church went and like we helped make sandbags, and like we're trying to like help save some buildings from getting any water damage. And we were there from like 10 a.m. until midnight. And there were like, we got into this one spot where it was flooded, and we were trying to like help this house out. And like there were just snakes swimming around. I know.
No.
I was like, this is weird. I'm in this, foot of water. We are on the way back, and somebody's like, hey, by the way, all that water is like extra like contaminated, and there's bacteria that's not normally in it, and everybody needs to go get a tetanus shot as soon as you can. I'm like, where was that in the flyer? Like, I
I feel like that's something you should say on the front end.
I
like-
agree. Which I did get a free shot out of it, I think. But the my point was that I did not expect any of that, and it was probably my like least favorite standing water situation I've ever been in.
That sounds pretty horrible, honestly. Ugh, I don't like that.
Have y'all gotten a tetanus shot recently?
No.
I feel like I got one when I got my flu shot, and they were like, hey, do you need a tetanus shot or a measles shot? Or I'm getting so confused because of what else happening on the internet with all the measles and RFK Jr. and all that.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
I've never gotten a tetanus shot.
I think
Fun
that I
fact.
have. But honestly, I don't know. I mean, honestly, my mom keeps up with all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I've got a yellow fever shot. I remember that one, but because I had to get it before I went to Africa, and it made me feel horrible. And so I know what that one was, but other than that, I don't remember much about those.
Did you have fun at Miss WBU?
I did. It was a lot of fun. I was kind of peer pressured into doing it, honestly, and so I was really nervous about it.
Who
and
peer pressured you?
Treasure.
Oh,
did
really?
it. Yes. She was like, you should do it. And so, I thought it would be fun to do it, because Treasure did it last year and Kerrigan was going to do it. And so, it was a lot of fun. I thought it was going to be really nerve wracking, and it was, but also I enjoyed getting to know some of the other girls, and, my mom and my dad and my little brother came up, and my aunt and uncle. And so that was really fun too. And got to, go dress shopping. And Miss April Maddox, it's Fowler Maddox's mom.
Uh-huh.
So she's kind of discipled me for the last year or so. And she, took me to get my hair and makeup done and all that stuff. So I got to spend some time with her. And
you didn't do your own hair and makeup?
No, I don't know how to do any of that stuff.
You should do. You did my wife's hair that one time.
I did,
actually
but
twice in a row because we got the days wrong on when the event was. You did awesome though. So, but you can't do it to yourself.
No, I mean I can like curl my hair, but like I had my hair up and stuff like that, and there's no way that I could have done that to myself. So Miss April was just, she offered, and it was really sweet, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Who picked your dress out?
Actually, my mom did.
Did she really?
Yes, I was shocked that. Because in high school, whenever we would go dress shopping for like homecoming and prom, everything that my mom picked out, I was like, ugh, I hate this,
Yeah.
And so she picked it out, and I was like, actually, I really like this. And so it was kind of funny to me that my mom picked out my dress.
Yeah. I don't know how to say this without sounding weird.
Okay.
I'm just going to try.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm a photographer.
Yes.
I took photos at Miss WBU while y'all were doing all this stuff, like on the stage. And this is why it's going to sound weird. I think your dress color with the lighting and everything, it photographed the best in my mind. Like it had the best color in like the lighting conditions.
Well,
and
thanks.
so I don't know how to say like I really liked your dress without sounding weird, but
It
I
doesn't
really did
sound
like
weird.
your
It's okay.
dress.
Well, thank
So,
you.
Yeah, I thought it was really
I was
a really
shocked
good
to
choice.
I was shocked to get purple though. I wasn't expecting that. It's not usually in the color palette of choice, but I liked it.
Yeah. What do you think of purple now?
I like it. I mean, it reminds me of Miss WBU now. I feel
Okay.
like a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna have to get used to purple because like in a BTS, their stuff is purple.
Well, you might
So-
find that purple is your power color. Like-
Maybe it is.
Yeah, I don't know what my power color is because nobody's ever told me. But like my aunt, her power color is definitely purple,
Oh.
and she knows it, and so
Okay.
she leans into it when she needs to.
Mhm.
So yeah, maybe purple might be yours.
Maybe it is. Maybe
So-
I should get more purple.
You'll find out because all your shirts are about to be purple.
Right. Right. Yeah.
How many Williams shirts do you have?
Oh, I don't know. Way too many. Honestly, Williams, the store has gotten so much money from me.
Yeah.
And which like I've gotten some free stuff too,
Oh, absolutely.
and
Yeah, yeah.
like Res Life shirts and all that. But I've actually started a bag of stuff because like we made a quilt, like a t-shirt quilt one from my like high school t-shirts and stuff like that. So there's gonna be a Williams one at some point probably, just because I don't need all of these shirts. It's too much. I don't have room for all of the t-shirts that I have.
Yeah.
So
That'd be cool to have like a keepsake though.
yeah, it's a cool memory thing, and like one day if I have kids or whatever, then when I die, they can just have my t-shirt quilts. That's kind of the plan. That's kind of morbid. I feel
You're
like
gonna keep it until you die.
I guess I don't know what else am I gonna do with it. I mean, I guess I could throw it away, but
Okay. Here's an idea. This is crazy.
okay.
So, my daughter is gonna be a 4th generation Williams kid.
Cute.
And so, anyways, what if she came to Williams and had a T-shirt quilt from either her grandma or her mom? I guess her great grandparents could have, that could have worked too. But like, that's something you could send. You could send your kid to Williams and give them the quilt, and then they get here, and everybody be like, "Wow, you're so cool."
Yeah, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
All the singers' shirts and Res Life stuff.
Yeah.
All the things. Might think about that.
When my wife was the women's housing director, that was the year we discovered Comfort Colors shirts. And so like all the Res Life shirts were Comfort Colors for the next couple of years. And I think she still has all those shirts.
Really?
Because they just, sometimes they wash weird and like, they can fade a little bit, but they do stand up quality wise, in my opinion.
And they're really comfy too.
And they are so comfortable.
Comfort Colors, I guess. They're really comfy.
Mm-hmm. The pastels.
Mm-hmm.
I really like their pastel shirts. So is that a Comfort Color shirt?
Yeah, the Harvest shirt.
Yep.
Christian did a good job. Or, well, I think it was actually Paige. But
Yeah. They're both alums from here as well.
Yeah, they are.
So Christian wasn't even coming to Williams, and he brought some of his students to preview day.
Mm-hmm.
And I found out he played guitar, and then next thing you know, he's coming here and playing guitar.
Mm. He allegedly went here in my mind because, like, he was here my freshman year.
Was he really?
Him and Paige both were.
Oh, but were they married?
They were married, and it was their last semester. Or, well, it was at least Christian's last semester.
Yeah.
And so he's like, I went to school at Williams, Sidney, and I was like, I don't think you did. Because I never saw you.
Yeah.
He played in chapel, apparently, but.
Yeah. He played my Taylor GS Mini. And then I think he has his own now.
Yeah, he got gifted one. He was telling me about that, actually.
Yeah. We did the Worshipies his senior year, where you get like a Dundee, but for worship. And his was, oh my gosh, who strummed my guitar so hard that it broke all the strings?
Are you for real?
Because he strums the guitar so hard. And so,
that does, yes. I've noticed that.
Yeah. Oh, he's
he
like,
does.
it's like he's bench pressing his max,
Yeah.
And,
Yes.
And we had some guy on campus one day. Christian just got done leading worship, and he runs down and like picks somebody up, and this guy goes, "So who's the wrestler on the worship team?" I go, "Oh, Christian, did you meet him already?" He's like, "Oh no." I was like, "Well, how'd you know he's a wrestler?" He's like, "Just look at him. Look what he's doing."
Yes.
He's obviously a wrestler.
Right. Yeah.
Yep. Have you been on the girls' podcast that's at church?
I haven't. Man, I want them to let me on that dang podcast. And all those girls are in my Bible study, except one of them. But yeah, they're in the Bible study that I do, and I'm like, put me on the podcast, please. I haven't actually asked, but I just want them to read my mind and know that I want to be on the podcast.
It's hard to navigate that.
Yeah.
Do you invite yourself, or do you just act so cool that they just want to invite you?
Yeah.
So that is a tough spot to be in.
Yeah. Especially for like 16-year-old girls. It's like,
yeah.
Am I overstepping right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going to put me on that podcast.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah. Or I'm going to cancel these Bible studies. They are over.
Right.
Yeah.
You're done.
Well, here's a life hack.
Okay.
People want to say no whenever they're asked a question. Like the immediate reaction is to want to say no. Like that's not, don't want to commit the time, don't want to commit the energy, don't want to commit to you. That's the natural reaction. And that's written by the guy who wrote the book on how to negotiate with, like your life depends on it or something like that. He used to be an FBI hostage negotiator. And anyways, he said that people want to say no. So you have to reframe your question to get what you want by them saying no. So instead of you saying, hey, can I be on your podcast? No, you can't be. You should say, hey, would you be opposed to me being on your podcast? No, I wouldn't. You're invited.
There you go. Okay, when am I doing it?
That is your hack. So,
I might try that tonight.
Yeah, I think you should. And I want you to film it and let me know how it goes. And
I
we'll
will.
see if this guy's right about it. So I use that hack all the time on people.
Honestly, that's really smart. I've never really thought about that before.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, I'll try to incorporate that in my life.
Yeah.
He also says that it's okay to point out emotions. and that actually, he's like, it's called labeling, and when you do that, it's scary because you're afraid that someone's gonna be like, I don't feel angry right now, but really what you're doing is you're labeling it so that you can honestly discuss your perspective with this label in mind, and it makes them feel seen and heard, which is just wild to think about. Like, Kinsman, I know you're feeling angry right now, but this podcast is still recording, and we got a few more minutes to go. So I'm just going to need you to hang on a little bit longer, okay, buddy?
Okay.
See? He agreed to it. Didn't see that coming.
Like,
no.
you should have said no. You know that. I mean,
Yeah, that's
no.
you worded it wrong. I'm supposed to say no.
Yeah. Well, so I learned about this guy because he was on a podcast, and he did his 45-minute conversation and kind of like gave his whole book away essentially. But then I was like, I'm gonna listen to the book. It's like 15 hours long, and he reads it. So I learned a lot about dealing with business and spouse issues from a hostage negotiator.
That's so random.
Yeah, I'm full of all kinds of life hacks. So.
Yeah, honestly, I believe it. I can see it.
Yeah. Well, do you feel like you got your calling stuff figured out as far as you can tell, and you feel like your life has a lot of meaning and purpose and the right level of responsibility, and that everything here is trending in the right direction?
Yeah, I think so. As far as I know, it is. I mean, just trying to take it one step at a time at this point, especially with like finals coming up and stuff. I'm just trying to get past the finals. That's where I'm at right now.
What's the one class that is scaring you right now?
Probably Johanning Lit. It's with Dr. Foster, and it's just a lot of information.
Yeah.
And so, that's probably. But honestly, I did really well in the last exam, so I'm just hoping that I can carry that into the next one, and do well, and not bomb the exam. That's a hope, is not to bomb any of my exams or consumer finance. I think that exam's probably going to be a little tough too.
Yeah.
But yeah, just trying to get through the next couple of weeks. I'm almost done. It's going to be sad, but I'm excited for something new too. So, and to go eat some good food in New Orleans.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Beignets and seafood and king cake,
Yep.
I'm pumped about that. It sounds awesome.
Is anybody else from Williams going to New Orleans this year?
Kerrigan Kinsey is actually going to go starting in January.
Okay.
So I hope that's okay that I announced that. She's talked about it. Yeah.
Okay.
She's going to be going there. So I'm
Now
really
she has
excited
to.
about that. I'm pumped. Cause I'm going to have a friend there, which like Joel Marlowe's there. Now,
Oh, he is. Cool.
Yeah. We don't really talk all that much. So, I guess
How
if
do you
I
think
anything,
adjusting to New Orleans is going to be? Like, so did you say you grew up in a small town?
yeah, I did.
And then, coming here, small town.
Yeah.
How's that going to be?
It's definitely going to be an adjustment. I feel like driving is going to be probably one of the biggest ones because like traffic and stuff, like you have to factor those things in to like going somewhere, being on time somewhere. And then also, I'm probably not going to be going by myself very many places in New Orleans. And that's going to be an adjustment because I like to go, to Walmart by myself or whatever. And that's not really going to be much of an option in New Orleans. So I'm going to kind of have to get over that and hopefully make friends fast, so I can not, walk around New Orleans alone just because, it's a different environment. I'm excited about it, but also there's a little bit of fear and just like it's going to be very different from what I grew up in for sure. So
yeah.
Have you seen the red trolley in New Orleans? It's like this trolley that goes on the tracks. So we went down to New Orleans once, my family, and we were looking for like random stuff to do because we don't plan in advance at all. And so this one guy was like, "Oh, you gotta go ride that trolley," and it makes designated stops. And we get on and there's some interesting people on there, it's New Orleans.
Yeah.
We're kind of like sitting on eggshells, just like, But then this one like older lady walks out in front of the track. She's standing on the tracks, not at a stop, because she wants the trolley to stop for her. And so the driver, like, slams on the brakes, however they brake, I don't know. He, like, slams on the brakes, and he starts yelling at her, like, you cannot do that. Then, like, people in the trolley start yelling at her, and she's like, you're blah, blah, blah. And I think she ends up getting on. It was weird, but that was my welcome to New Orleans moment.
Nice.
So
yeah, I've been a couple times only, so it's still gonna be pretty new for sure.
Yeah,
it's cool though.
It'll be different, but
yeah,
it'll be fun. I bet.
Yeah, the seminary is really pretty though, like, and it's very safe. Gated, securities, all the things. So that'll help, I think, too, with some of that. But I'm gonna go to Mardi Gras. It's got to happen. That's on the bucket list for while I'm in New Orleans. Go to Mardi Gras with a group of students to go
study the Bible deeper and to go to Mardi Gras.
Oh yeah, probably not gonna go to Mardi Gras on Bourbon Street. I won't do that one. I'm probably not gonna go to Bourbon Street at all, honestly. But
we walked over there one night and we regretted it.
Yeah,
so,
I've seen.
We were not there very long.
Right? Yeah, I've seen Bourbon Street from a distance, but like, I was like, probably not gonna go hang out over there.
Yeah,
it's just don't think that's gonna be much of my scene at all. So
Yep.
Yeah, it'll be cool though. I'm excited.
Well, we're excited for you.
Thank you.
And we look forward to hearing from you next year. And you'll always be part of the Williams family.
Yeah.
And I know you know that, but just don't go falling in love with New Orleans more than you love it here.
Yeah.
So. But it will feel like a part too. You know how you said you didn't know Christian because he was married? Usually people who live in married housing here, it's like there's, just they live, it's just a different pace of life. And so it's almost a disconnect between that and the non-married who live in the residence halls. In seminary, it's a little different in my experience. And Taylor's experience was that too, because you have friends who are, single. You have friends who are just got married, friends who are been married for 10 years. And just the melting pot's a little bit better and easier to, be friends with everybody. So
I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, you'll find friends in no time, and they're gonna love you. Yeah,
Well,
you're gonna fit right in.
I'm excited about it.
Yeah, you'll never have to go to Walmart alone.
Yes.
It would be my guess.
Yes. That's what I need.
Yep.
My dad's like, you're not going anywhere by yourself. That's what he told me. When I got there, he was like, no, you're not going by yourself anywhere. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, you'll figure it out really quickly.
It'll be good.
So. All right. Well, Sidney, congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Glad to have you on the podcast.
Yeah. It's fun.
Talk to you later.
See ya.